Alright, so I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. So many people are burning through their Claude tokens and have no clue why. And a lot of them assume that it's those big tasks that are killing them, right? But in reality, it's actually those small, invisible leaks before you guys even send your first message. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys exactly where those invisible leaks are, how to find them, and the strategies I use in order to address them. So before you guys even type your first message, Claude is already consuming tokens, whether that be from your Claude.md file, whether that be from your MCP servers, or any software tools you guys have connected to Claude. All of it gets loaded as context at the start of every session. And a lot of people either aren't aware of this or just choose to simply ignore it. They just pile everything in, whether that be from past, current, or future projects, and then wonder why they're running out of budget so quickly. And Anthropic's official recommendations are pretty clear about this. You want to keep your Claude.md file like a briefing, not a manual. So list your tech stack, your key conventions, and any hard rules you guys want in place, and then cut everything else. And if you guys aren't completely sure on what exactly to cut and what to keep, then just ask yourselves a simple question. Would removing this cause Claude to make a mistake? If not, just completely cut it out, because a bloated file doesn't help Claude whatsoever. It actually confuses Claude and prevents Claude from actually listening to the important instructions. You guys also want to disable every single tool you guys aren't currently using in your current project. The reason is because every single MCP server and connector still causes overhead to every single conversation, whether or not Claude decides to call them. Managing what exactly Claude loads before every single session is the one high leverage habit you guys can build. And if you guys aren't exactly sure which MCP servers and connectors Claude is using and loading before every single session, just type in your Claude terminal /context and it will pull up every single thing that Claude is loading and how much tokens it's actually using before every single session. Okay, now let's move on to during your session. So here's the thing that a lot of people just don't realize. It's actually not how large your project folder is. It's the type of prompt you actually give Claude Code during your session. So a vague request, for example, like quote unquote improve the auth system, forces Claude to just go exploring to try to interpret what exactly do you mean. And every file Claude decides to look at and read burns through your context window. Now, if you compare that to add input validation for the login function in auth.ts, one file, one change, done. No exploration, no wasted tokens. And from here, a lot of people may ask me, hey Nathan, I didn't go to school and study computer science like you did. I don't know the whole software development pipeline like you do. I don't even know the whole tech stack that I may or may not need. So how would I go about giving Claude specific instructions and specific prompts when I don't know these things? And I'm glad you asked. So this actually brings me on to my next point, which is to plan before you guys build anything. Anthropic actually recommends you guys plan before you guys actually pursue any non-trivial task. This way, Claude actually sketches out and plans the whole approach to the entire project before it actually starts doing anything, which is actually one of the best habits you can actually build. As many developers may know, it is significantly cheaper to address every single issue in the planning and design phase rather than catching it on later down in the pipeline. This way, Claude is also able to determine the exact tech stack it needs in order to build out your entire project, which actually gives Claude the specific context it needs for you. Though with that being said, if the changes are small and obvious, then just skip the planning stage entirely. Planning earns its cost when the project scope is sort of unclear and the changes you need to make are across multiple files. So the next tip I actually want to give you guys is to actually batch your requests together. So instead of sending 3 short messages that cover more or less the same ground, just combine it into one well-structured prompt. One clear and focused message will always outperform 3 short messages that are more or less unclear. And if you guys are having issues with how to exactly structure your prompts, I recommend using a dictation tool that actually helps you structure your prompts for you, such as Whisper. This way, you don't really have to worry about structuring your prompts, but rather just making sure your prompts have the full context. Not sponsored, by the way. And now the third pillar I want to go over with you guys is to actually control which model you use and how much effort is actually taking. So not every task you give Claude needs the most powerful model. So I'm gonna break down exactly which models to use under which circumstance. So Sonnet 4.6 is the current model right now at the time I'm recording this video. So Sonnet should actually be your default workhouse. As of right now, it already has 1 million context, which you shouldn't even be using all of it in the first place. Opus 4.7, on the other hand, is mainly used for hard architectural decisions as well as software engineering decisions. Although Opus 4.7 is the most capable, it is also the most expensive model. Trust me, as tempting as it is, you do not want to default to Opus 4.7 every single time. That is the easiest way to completely destroy your token usage. A quick bug fix actually doesn't need Opus 4.7. However, a major architectural decision does. So match the model to the actual job you need it to do. Another thing to note is that you can actually control the effort level. So in general, higher effort means extended thinking. And the more it thinks, the more tokens it will use. This is particularly important with Opus 4.7 because we are going to be using 4.7 with really complex software engineering decisions. Therefore, Opus will be most likely on the highest effort in order to actually make these software engineering decisions for us. However, for most everyday tasks, Sonnet on like medium to automatic is more than enough. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to change anything. Save the extra high and max effort for problems that you and Claude are genuinely stuck on. So all in all, I hope you guys were able to understand that your token usage is not being used by one big thing. It's actually a dozen of small, invisible bad habits. You know, a Claude.md file that's way too long, tools and services that you guys forgot to disable, prompts that make Claude go exploring, and models that are way too overkill for the task that you're trying to do. So fix the leaks at the source, control what exactly Claude loads in beforehand, control what Claude actually does mid-session, and then actually control the context and the models that Claude actually uses. That is the full system. You can also use open source GitHub projects in order to actually help you manage your tokens as well as see where the tokens are going. But I'm just not gonna get into that in this video. I'm just gonna keep the tips basic in this video so anyone who watches this is able to follow along without any additional setup. If you guys want me to get into any additional tools and any additional open source softwares, let me know in the comments and I can do that in another separate video. But with that being said, drop in the comments below which of these tips you didn't know about. I'm actually genuinely curious which of these tips actually helped you guys out. And if you guys are using any current workflows that I didn't cover in this video, feel free to share them down there as well. Now here's the thing, saving tokens is only half of the equation. The other half is knowing exactly what to build with Claude Code that actually generates you money, which is actually what we teach inside our community, Operator AI. So in the next video, I'm gonna walk you guys through the exact system that I use in order to actually find profitable problems, build out solutions using Claude Code, and then actually land paying clients without the need of code calling anyone. So make sure you guys stay subscribed as you guys don't want to miss that one.